All right. Well, continue our theme of crying in tears. Let's talk about finances. No, we won't get that bit. It is our end of year update. Our financial year runs July 1st to June 30th. And so this wraps up our FY23 fiscal year. So next slide, please. First, I want to thank a whole bunch of folks, everybody who has volunteered their time to help manage the finances of the church, particularly Scott, who is our outgoing financial secretary and has done this since our church has started. Thank you very much. And our new financial secretary, approved at our last council meeting, is Mark Templin. Cheers. I don't think he's here today, but Mark has been a long-time member of our community as well. Did I forget an E on the end of your name there? No, I did it. Okay. Tell her spell. Anyway, so thank you, Mark, for stepping up. He's our new financial secretary. Our counters, Catherine with our grants, our finance team members, thank you all. Again, if you're looking for a way you can help out the church, if you have a little extra time after services sometime, counters are a great way to do that. We're always looking for more folks who can be part of that group. Just makes scheduling easier, make sure we always have folks here. So thank you all. I also want to thank all of you. Next slide, please. So this slide is a little hard to hear, but see. You can't hear it at all. It's a little hard to see, but those two orange dots on the very right there, those are how much we gave in May and June. At the last finance update, we said, hey, this year is going to be a deficit. Let's see if we can finish strong. Those two dots are our best May and best June ever in giving. So thank you. In fact, in Salt Out House history, we've only had 1 month better in giving overall, and that was the start of our Leap of Heart campaign. So these are our second and third best months ever for giving across the board. So thank you, everybody, for making sure this year finished up strong. It's a really awesome accomplishment. So, yay, indeed. All right, let's talk a couple numbers here. Next slide, please. So this is how we ended our year in terms of giving and income. Most things were pretty much on track. The grant income, I think, was a little off just due to some scheduling issues. I'm still trying to track that down exactly. But the big one here was that our giving was below our target for the year. Still, again, thank you for your generosity in making sure we finished strong for the year and minimized that deficit. And then all of our rent and everything else checked in right on target there. Next slide, please. And then these are our restricted income funds. So these are our funds that we can only use for specific purposes, reparations, queer, community initiatives. As you can see, most things were pretty well on track there. Yeah, those are all doing pretty healthy. So next slide, please. In terms of operating expenses, overall, we were right on target for the year. A few things got shifted around during the year in terms of where we put our money, but our overall expenses for the year, we ended up at 99% of what our planned budget was. So thank you to the previous folks who did the budget for being pretty accurate, and I hope I did as good a job for our next budget. So, next slide, please. So overall for the year, again, we had previously estimated a $50,000 to $70,000 loss on the year, and with those great months, with your generosity, we minimized that loss. We actually came in just below $50,000, which I think is a really great accomplishment. Yeah, so that's where our income and operating expenses ended for the year. Yeah, any questions on any of that? Just pause right there. Cool. All right, next slide, please. And so where did our accounts end up at the end of the year? Our general fund still has about $275,000 left in it, which is a very healthy number. Again, we like to keep 3 months operating income in there at least for a rainy day. So we still have a good buffer in there. Community initiatives still has a very healthy amount in it as well. Reparations and queer have smaller amounts, but those are doing well. And again, we met our goals for the year in giving. So yeah, this is just where all of our funds are at. Overall, things are going well. We do have a couple of liabilities on our books. We don't have a mortgage or anything like that. Really, our liabilities are for benevolence, which we pay quarterly. So once we make that payment, that'll go down. And then just the parsonage security deposit. And our awesome bookkeeper, Laura, cleared out a few of the items that had been lingering, particularly around Expensify. So those numbers are nice and low now. We have no money sitting in our expense system waiting to pay back our staff or anything like that. So. Any questions on our accounts, our money? Awesome. And then all the fixed assets, I collapsed those down to one items. Those are things like the land, the building, our playground. Those numbers really don't change. They haven't changed in a very long time. It's really just these accounts that change around. So. All right, next slide, please. So some other news around our finances. Again, FY24 has started. We set our budget at our last meeting. We all voted and approved it. We will see how, as strong as those last couple months are, we'll need to see kind of what our new normal is for giving. Our intent is to have those numbers out more frequently, at least our giving numbers, so the congregation is aware of how we're doing towards our goals. So once July ends, I'll know what the July numbers are and we can share those. The Grace Grant. This is a grant we've received for the past few years. This was our last year of eligibility for it. Unfortunately, we were not selected for it this year. So it's about $12K that we were hoping to get and won't. Unfortunately, things happen. There's a lot of great causes that all compete for that. So just a note, we did not unfortunately receive that. As part of our efforts to find new ways to generate revenue, we did decide to make an investment this year. We took $100,000 of our giving of our general fund and invested it in a CD, a certificate of deposit. This is a very safe investment. We tell the bank, hey, we won't touch this for an amount of time, and they give us a better rate of interest. So in our case, it's a 6-month CD at 5%. So in 6 months, assuming we don't touch that money, we'll get $2,500 in interest back. Much better than the pennies that we receive sitting in our savings account. And so we're going to continue to do this. We'll probably start a cycle of CDs and whatnot. We may look into some other deposits, but we do want to make sure that any investment we make is safe, our money's not at risk, but we do want to start making our money work for us even more. So I did want to mention Pastor Sarah's leave. Of course, we're all look forward to her getting back as soon as possible. I want to thank the Personnel Committee in particular, who's done a ton of work just organizing everything, figuring out all the details. We're still working out the financial details and financial impact of all that around how that works. We pay her for part of it. She gets benefits. We want to make sure she has the time she needs to go through all of her options. So I'll have an update when we have the details there. Was there anything else? Next slide. We already went through all of our giving options. So again, we thank you for all of your generosity. And again, thank you for ending this year strong. And let's continue that this year. Next slide. Yeah. So we did have our pledge campaign that is still going. We pledged across the congregation about 80% of our goals so far for next year. You can still make a pledge and let us know your intent to give this year if you haven't already or if that's changed. And otherwise, if you have pledged, please, or thank you for meeting that pledge and for fulfilling it. That was a little quick. Any other questions? Cool. I know you all want me to stay here and really give a detailed financial update after all the budgeting and everything. So.
We'll have all the slides and stuff available on the website after.
Yeah, Jason points out we'll have all the slides available. As always, if there's any questions, if you're interested in volunteering, yes.
If you would like to pledge again, there are pledge cards right here in the basket on your way out.
Awesome.
Pick one up.
Thank you. There's also pledge cards out in the basket if you would like. Yes, Ellie.
What does FY24 mean?
FY24 is financial year 24. That's as a business, that's how we manage our financial calendar.
One more question.
What's up?
Is the CD money kind of like a time capsule?
It is kind of like a time capsule. We put it into a capsule, we don't touch it, and then it comes back with more money in it, which is not a bad deal. So. Anyway, if you have any other questions, if you are interested in being a counter, anything about the finances of the church, please feel free to reach out to me, treasurer@salthousechurch.org. I'm easy to find. Thank you very much.
Thank you.